You may ask, if not by observing these details, can one identify such pieces at a glance? The answer is yes, absolutely, but only after extensive training and the correct methods. Like a ninth Dan Go master who can judge the flow of a game at a glance, the human brain can build cognitive patterns through high-dimensional geometry. After seeing enough authentic pieces, one naturally develops intuitive judgment. At that level, magnifying glasses and thermoluminescence equipment are no longer necessary. Training includes studying genuine porcelain shards, reading books and resources, watching instructional videos, including this channel's Antique Porcelain series, visiting museums, and communicating with seasoned collectors. If reaching 3rd Dan and Go requires 10,000 hours of practice, then mastering a specific category of ancient porcelain, such as Song or Yuan Celadon, Yingqing ware, or white porcelain, requires roughly 5,000 hours. To identify porcelain across all major kiln systems and dynasties may require more than 20,000 hours. Many collectors devote decades to this practice, and the method must be correct. For trained connoisseurs, genuine ancient porcelain feels right at first glance. Its form, contours, foot rim, and glaze color naturally form a coherent impression, and a conclusion arises instantly, just like a Go master reading a board position. The ancients called this observing qi. Modern science calls it the brain's high-dimensional geometric cognition. So you might ask, the media often claims that there are countless imitations on the market and that without authoritative thermoluminescence testing, it is extremely difficult to identify ancient porcelain. Is the authentication of ancient ceramics really that hard? Can modern craftsmen truly reproduce ancient porcelain so convincingly that it passes for the real thing? If the goal of reproduction is merely to imitate the general appearance rather than the fine details, or to deliberately create artificial aging, then yes, it can certainly be done. But if the goal is to produce forgeries to deceive others for high profits, it is not nearly so easy, even if traditional wood-fired kilns are used instead of modern electric ones. So let us analyze this step by step. Why is it so difficult for newly made forgeries to fully replicate the characteristics of genuine ancient porcelain? Now suppose I am a forger. Let me explain the hard limitations I would face in the production process. This perspective may offer some useful insights and methods for authenticating ancient ceramics. Now I am preparing to make a forgery, but I immediately encounter a troubling contradiction between materials, techniques, and the historical era they belong to. First, have you ever tried to imitate someone else's signature? If you have, you already know that even slightly artistic signatures are surprisingly difficult to copy. The foot finishing techniques of ancient ceramics are even more so. The trimming habits of each era and each kiln, including the shape of the foot ring, the knife marks, the hand feel, and even glaze spots, are like the handwritten signatures of ancient ceramic craftsmen, but this is far more complex than a signature on paper. These features developed to suit specific firing methods of their time. The movements are decisive yet unrestrained, and the foot must also show the effects of long-term natural weathering, making them extremely difficult to imitate. Some attempt to simulate aging through artificial acid etching or abrasion, but such methods are quickly detected by experienced eyes. Moreover, once a fake glazed surface is artificially aged, it often loses its natural luster. As for forming techniques, ancient craftsmen had ancient methods, such as slow wheel throwing and sectional joining, while modern potters use modern tools, including high-speed wheels and rapid trimming devices. As a result, subtle differences inevitably appear in the finished form due to improved tools. Next, I realized that even if I can analyze the chemical composition of ancient bodies and glazes, That does not mean I can truly replicate the original material formulas. The gap between the two is enormous. The raw materials used by ancient potters, such as porcelain, stone, and glazed minerals, came from sources that no longer exist or are nearly impossible to locate today. Most original production formulas have been lost. Ancient texts contain only fragmentary references, far from sufficient for actual formula reconstruction. For example, historical records note that Ru War Celadon used agate in the glaze, yet this alone is nowhere near enough to reproduce the original Ru glaze color. Their physical and chemical properties, such as plasticity and microstructure after firing, must inevitably differ. This leads to visible differences between forgeries and genuine pieces, such as how the body and glaze bond or the patterns of glaze shrinkage. With extensive hands-on comparison and sufficient experience, one can often identify these differences without even using a magnifying glass or thermoluminescence testing. After all, thermoluminescence analysis also has its limitations. That said, we do hope that in the future, more portable, easy-to-use, low-cost, and effective authentication technologies will emerge. From all these factors, we can conclude that, in theory, the older the ancient porcelain, the harder it is to forge. This is because material sources and techniques differ so greatly, and the difficulty of imitating 1,000 years of natural aging is simply not the same as imitating 100 years. If I insist on forging such pieces, any careful expert will inevitably spot numerous flaws. Sometimes even at first glance, the overall spirit will already feel wrong. Their basic approach is simple. First, see whether the piece can be disproven, only then consider how it might be proven genuine. Ultimately, it all comes down to the mindset of the maker. As we noted earlier, form arises from the mind, vessels are shaped by the heart, and within the HE and EG framework of physics, the mindset of ancient craftsmen can be understood as a personal holographic encoding, PHE, shaped by prolonged immersion in their historical and cultural environment. Ancient porcelain was a natural emergent generation of that encoding, one that differs profoundly from modern PHE. High-end imitators aim to fire porcelain that looks like ancient ware. They may use wood-fired kilns, but they employ every piece of modern knowledge and technology to guide this inherently uncontrollable process, attempting to reproduce the effects of ancient ceramics. In essence, this is a dance in shackles, pursuing a kind of designed randomness. Ancient craftsmen, by contrast, sought simply to fire good porcelain. They accepted all natural outcomes of the firing process, including flaws. The firing curve, temperature, and atmosphere depended entirely on experience and observation, full of uncertainty. The result was something naturally achieved, a free dance in harmony with the way of nature. After this analysis, at the very least, we can understand that forgery is not as mystical or invincible as many media narratives exaggerate. There are always weaknesses. It ultimately depends on the experience and skill of the authenticator.